Well, if there was some confusion in Nottingham, there was a clearer picture about married life at Sunderland, where two 10-year-old girls had even worked out how much they would need to run a home each week.
Oh, I think about £20 because you have to allow for a lot of things.
What do you say?
Well, I don't think £20 because some people don't get that much money. And I think about £6.10 with everything on top.
Well, what would you have to spend the money on?
Well, shoes and clothes for your children. And then you've got your water rates, your electricity, and everything on top of that. Well, I would think the woman wouldn't handle that side of it. I think the money that the husband had left from his pay would pay for that, and she would just, I think an enormous amount of it would go to the food if you had a lot of children.
But she would still need £20.
Oh, yes, I think so, because, I mean, they'd be wearing out their shoes and needing new clothes all the time and growing like mad. Well, if you had all the money to pay for food, what about the carpets and all the furniture? You'd still be paying off them, probably. You just can't spend all your money on food.
What do you think it's like having to balance a budget, keep your spending within the money that you've got available? Is this hard or what?
Oh, it's very hard, I know from my mummy. She does all sorts, like putting it away in this tin or putting it away in that one. Oh, we must keep this, and for the water rates. Like trying to last out, and on the last night you're starving for sweets and you've got about nothing left.
Would you like the idea of running a home and looking after how much it costs?
I'd love it, yes.
Would you?
Yes.
Why?
Dying to grow up.
Are you? Why would you like to run a home?
Oh, just to have lots of children and comfort them and have a lovely husband to come home and plenty of money to spend and go out and buy things every day and take the baby out in the pram for walks. Probably when we get older, though, we'll get sick. We'll be saying now, oh, I'd like to be grown up. And then when we get older, we'll be saying to our children, oh, I wish I was at school again. Because every grown-up does.
What do you say to this?
Oh, I wouldn't. And I don't think I will. At least I'm going to try not to, because I think the age you are is the age you want to be.
But is there not a lot of hard work involved in running a home? And can't it be very lonely?
Oh, well, it can be lonely, but if you sing and you have the radio on all the time, it's lovely. I think you get a lot of comfort from having the wireless and the telly on and singing to yourself.
I would not like to be a queen because there was a thing in the royal family about them having blue blood, and when they got cuts or anything, they couldn't stop it bleeding.
I wonder what gave her that idea. I met her in Northern Ireland, where I was trying to find out what the children there thought it would be like to be a member of the royal family.
I would like to be a king. I think it would be nice, because no burglars would get into the palace, because you're being guarded by soldiers.
The palace never gets burgled.
No. Only when the guards go asleep. If they take a sleeping tablet.
Well, if you were the king and the guards went to sleep, what would you do to the guards?
Put them in prison.
Now, what else would you do if you were a king?
I would go out for walks and ride horses and play polo.
Play polo?
Yes.
Kings always play polo, do they?
Sometimes.
Are they very good polo players?
Well, I would say yes.
And how do you get to be a king?
Well, I'd say you would have to be a brave man and be a prime minister and then get better and then come to a king.
Well, who decides who shall be king?
Well, if there was a queen, she would decide.
Oh, the queen is the boss?
Yes. And God bosses the queen.
God bosses the queen?
Yes.
Well, if you were a king, would you make any special kind of rules for other people?
Yes.
What?
Not to go climb over the walls of the palace or write on the walls. They would write pictures and words with stones or chalk.
Well, what's the matter with these drawings words on the wall?
Well, it would make the palace look awful.
Oh, we couldn't have the palace looking like that. But how do you become the monarch? What about becoming a queen? How does that happen?
When the queen before her dies, she becomes, the eldest person becomes the queen, and she is crowned by the bishop.
Would you like to be a king?
I would like to be one very much, sir.
Why?
Because I could make rules, sir. If anybody's stop off hanging people, and if they're bad, very bad, they get imprisonment for life.
But you wouldn't hang anybody?
No.
You'd stop
Sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because I don't like it, sir.
How does the royal day begin? What does the queen do first thing? What about breakfast?
Well, I think that she would probably have it in bed if she wanted to. And if she was having it downstairs, she would wear a white satin apron because she wouldn't want her frocks and things to get all egg or something. And she would probably eat eggs and maybe tomato.
Well, I wouldn't be any ordinary breakfast room because I couldn't be more richer than somebody else. I would have very expensive china with nice tablecloths with no holes or dirt on them, or a wee bit of spilt jam. She would have a clean one ordered on if things like that happened. And she would have the things out nicely with golden knives and forks, spoons and plates and cups, and some silver ones. And she might have some things like fry, and she might have a nice cup with diamonds and things round the edge of it. And if a guest came in, she wouldn't say, "Sit down, this chair, it's only 3 legs, but it'll do you." She would treat the guest more mannerly than herself. And the food will be stitched on nicely. It wouldn't be big potatoes slapped on with some peas and big chunk of meat slapped on with some beans.
Well, she probably gets her children up and gets herself dressed and then gets her children up, and she gets her breakfast and goes probably out to feed the horses, and then probably Prince Philip and her go out somewhere in a carriage with the horses.
What sort of clothes does the queen wear?
Well, she would wear a dress and then a robe on top with fur and then black spots on it. And the robe's all red with the trimmings round it. And then she wears a crown. And she usually wears sort of a flat shoe with long sleeves with gloves on.
Why does she wear a flat shoe?
I don't know.
And what about the crown? How often does she wear that?
She doesn't wear it going to bed, but she wears it mostly all the time. She wears it when she goes out, like walking or somewhere like that. Round the palace gardens she would wear it. And in the carriage, she's afraid of it being knocked out if the horses run.
And what would it cost to buy?
By £2.
£2 for a royal crown.